Introduction to mental skills. So the MPGA approach, we really firmly believe in these three foundational skills. Number one, this first concept that we believe in is that mental training is basic. It's not rocket science, but it's hard. It's basic. It's not rocket science, but it's hard to do. So it's not easy. So, a lot of people who start their mental training journey, it's almost as if they think that, you start working with a personal trainer. Let's say you have a goal of getting a really fit body. Let's say you want to get some muscles, right? You want to beef up on your shoulders, your biceps, get some ripped abs. And so you hire a personal trainer to target those areas. And you go into the gym and you sweat it out. Like you have an amazing workout. And it was just very refreshing, cathartic, and you really worked hard. But you don't necessarily expect to get ripped muscles in one day. What does it require? What does it take? It takes consistency and it takes longevity. You have to target these muscles. You got to work on it and break those muscles, break the old patterns to create new ones, right? You're stretching into it and you feel pain in the beginning. So just like this, our brain and how we train our mind, it's really around the same concept of a lot of times this stuff is really uncomfortable and we often get exhausted practicing these skills, even though it's not tangible like the physical aspects of it. It's very practical in what you can do to train it and practice it. So mental training is just like physical conditioning in that you have to work on it consistently and it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. You may experience some quick wins and a shift in perspective, which changes the way you play immediately. That happens, and it happens to all of us, where we learn these skills and we start to apply them. And then all of a sudden, guess what happens? Old habits kick in. The way that we used to think about certain scenarios or get bombarded with these negative thoughts, even though we've trained how to think neutrally, we're still going to struggle with our old habits. And that's okay. That's part of the process. And when we fall down, it's not if we fall down, it's when we fall down. Because golf is a game of misses. It's so hard. If you look at the percentages on wins and successes and victories in golf on various tours, the PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, the college tours, junior tours, whatever it might be, you're losing more than you're winning. So how do you deal with those losses? How do you deal with the challenges that golf brings, just like life? So it's a long journey. We got to think of this process as a marathon approach, not a sprint. Okay. So the first foundational concept in MPGA is mental training is not rocket science, meaning a lot of this stuff you may already innately do. It's just something that you probably practice without even knowing it, but it's not easy to do. It's really hard. It requires a lot of work. Number two, the second concept in MPGA is victory goes to the vulnerable. What does that mean? Victory goes to the vulnerable. A lot of times people think that being vulnerable is weak. Like, I don't like to feel uncomfortable. I don't like to feel vulnerable, sharing my emotions, sharing my thoughts and feelings around certain things, or feeling afraid. Vulnerability, what they say in the research is that vulnerability is our most accurate measurement of courage. You cannot be courageous without being vulnerable. Because if you look at the definition of vulnerability, what is it? Vulnerability in the research requires these three things. Number one, there's uncertainty. Number two, there's risk involved in being vulnerable. And number three, vulnerability is emotional exposure. When you're exposing some emotions. So why this concept of victory goes to the vulnerable? When you begin learning the mental skills and start applying it, and many of you already in the academy, you guys are doing this, but you come into a situation where you're feeling super, super nervous. And oftentimes we gravitate towards old habits or old patterns of way of thinking, and it's comfortable. And we keep doing the same things, thinking that it's going to work because it's comfortable, rather than challenging ourselves to do something different in that moment. Does that make sense? So when you're on the first tee and you get so overwhelmed with your thoughts on mechanics because you're so careful that you don't want to hit a bad shot and embarrass yourself. So you think that focusing on your technique over the first tee shot is going to help you because that's what you've always done. It's just a comfortable way of going through your mental process. But when you start learning this stuff, and Coach Jay and I and other coaches, we're going to challenge you to let go of that. The things that made you comfortable, let go of that. For this shot, all I want you to think about is target. Don't think about anything else. Just think about your target and let the target pull you, meaning you're so fixated on that target, like throwing a ball. If I ask you to throw a ball in my hand without thinking about how you're going to do it, you just look at the target and you throw it at me. You commit to it. There's no hesitation. Sometimes we feel very naked when we try something new, when it matters, when there's pressure on us. But that's victorious. Even if you fall flat on your face and you hit a bad shot, you tried something new in that process, and that we're going to give you credit for. We're going to really celebrate the progress. That's what we mean by victory goes to the vulnerable. You will win. You will progress. You will grow when you choose to do different things when it matters the most. Victory goes to the vulnerable. The third and final concept in the foundations of MPGA training is confidence is an action. Confidence is a behavior. It's something that we do. It's not something we wait around for to feel, or like, oh, I'm not feeling confident, therefore I'm not going to play well. Many people, they've trained themselves to be it until they see it. So we train ourselves to hold our body positions and to talk to ourselves in a very confident manner so that we can become it and be it. Even though we're not feeling it, we're not really in it, but we force ourselves through the way we carry our body language, our nonverbals. We walk up to the first tee, even if we're completely scared out of our mind. We're grabbing our first or our driver, whatever you play on the first tee. Take off your cover head with confidence. You're staring down the fairway with your head up, taking some breaths, and you're saying to yourself, you know what? I've been in this place before. I can do it. I got this. I've trained really hard. I just got to trust my process and commit. I got this. You can do it. Whatever happens, you are worthy. All the things that we work on to give yourself the infused confidence of behaving in that way rather than waiting around for the feeling. Because motion creates emotion. Remember that. Motion, the way you move your body, the way you talk to yourself, that motion creates the emotion. And it works both ways. If your motion is very slumped and really kind of negative, and you're beating yourself up and you're looking down and it's like, oh, this again, like, oh, what now? Those motions are going to create the emotions that follow that. So you're going to start to feel negative. You're going to start to see negative things. You're going to start to have a pity party. That just is natural. But if your emotions are more open, spread out, big, feeling, talking, just, confidently, the emotions will follow. So confidence is in action. Here we go. This is what we talk about. Now, I want all of us to do an exercise here, okay? And I can't see you, and it's okay. I don't care if you're in your living room. I don't care if you're in your car, out on the course, wherever you're watching this or hearing this. I want you to have a very big open posture, just like this gentleman here. However you want to hold your body to feel powerful. So my power pose, I'm just going to just stretch out. I'm going to hold my chest up, and I'm going to hold it for 15 seconds. Okay. I'm going to count out loud, and I want you to hold your power pose for 15 seconds. Okay. Ready? Hold a very confident pose. Here we go. 15 seconds starting now. I want you to take a deep breath, look around in a very confident manner. Say, yeah, I feel big. I feel strong. Say these things to yourself. I feel ready. I am here. I am present. Confidence in action. I can do it. Good. 5 more seconds. Hold it big. Look around in a very confident stance and release. Good. Now, here's the trick. Before a big event, before a big meeting, before a big test at school, a lot of times we go into the mirror in the bathroom, or we're in the car, and we are in a very safe place where we can express our big confident stance, looking ourselves in the mirror and rehearsing these things. So every time I have a big presentation, and I've talked to thousands of people in the audience, I go into the bathroom just, maybe 30 minutes before they call me up on stage, or 15 minutes before. And I do my power poses. I really do this, guys. I stand in front of the mirror, and it's kind of like Cool Runnings. It's an old movie, you're looking yourself in the mirror, and you're literally holding yourself in a big posture and saying confident things that you can believe in. You know what? I've done this. I've prepared. I put in the work. I trust myself. And even if I make a mistake, I'm going to be okay. You say things that you mean and that you can believe, and you hold yourself in a very positive, confident posture. Try that. When you do it for a minute in front of a mirror, it really changes your mood and your emotions. So you're walking on stage or to the first tee very big. And that's what we want to do. Okay. Confidence is an action. Just wanted to give you that little tidbit on where confidence comes from, how to generate it, and how to sustain it.